Right now at 5, the East Newton School District in Granby, Missouri asked the public for help in adding a junior high wing onto the high school.
We've still got another chilly start for us, but we are much warmer than we were yesterday. We'll talk about how warm it's going to get and about those storm chances coming up.
And the Boys and Girls Club of Southwest Missouri announces the winner of the 4th annual Black History Month art contest.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5 a.m. I'm Tanya Bach.
I'm Chris Warner. So it's not nearly as cold as it was yesterday. It's about 20 degrees warmer than where we were yesterday, which is nice.
Yes.
But today kicks off day one of some big changes coming into our forecast. Now, the first big change is it's going to be windier, but the second is we're watching thunderstorm chances as we head into tomorrow. And I apologize, I forgot to update the thing from Sunday to Friday, but that's Friday down there. We're looking at the possibility of a few strong storms in this dark green area. If we see any stronger storms, some small hail, gusty winds would be the primary threats with these, but otherwise we're expecting just general thunderstorms tomorrow. And we're not anticipating a ton of rain out of this system, but of course with any thunderstorms we see, we could see some locally higher amounts across the area, but otherwise picking up roughly about ½ an inch. So let's take a look at what that's going to look like. As we go through our day today, it's actually not going to be too bad. It's going to be pleasant. It's going to be some cloudiness out there, but as we head into tomorrow, we'll start to see a few scattered showers in the late morning and early afternoon, and then later in the day, we'll see this line of thunderstorms begin to develop in southeast Kansas and roll across the area through the evening. And there's still that possibility of a brief changeover to maybe some light snow, a light wintry mix on the backside of this system. As we go through today, though, we're going to start to see our winds picking up as we go into the morning hours, and they'll be gusting roughly 20 to 30 miles an hour, and then they'll start to pick up overnight and into tomorrow as we start to see gusts picking up in that 30 to 40 mile an hour range for us on Thursday. MoDOT camera 20th and range line looks good so far. As we take a look at temperatures, it's better than we were yesterday. 40 in Joplin, feeling like 33 though, with the south breeze at 13. And again, later this morning, those winds will start picking up. 38 Iola, Fort Scott, 39 Chanute, 37 Chatopa, 40 Miami, 37 Neosho, and 39 in Carthage. And as mentioned, that's putting us anywhere from 10 upwards of 20 degrees warmer now than we were 24 hours ago. So we get our day started. We'll start off sunny, mostly clear. Temperatures warming quickly. Winds start picking up by about 8, 9 o'clock, up to the lower 50s by late morning. We're looking at a high today right around 61 degrees, so at or slightly above average. Clouds will increase this afternoon and winds hang out with us. And as we head into this evening, much milder, down to 49 for our low. And we'll again see a break in the clouds, and they'll build back in as we go into the overnight hours, and we'll stay breezy. We'll take a look at our full forecast and what happens after this cold front rolls through here a little later. Tanya?
All right, thanks, Chris. The East Newton School District in Granby, Missouri is asking residents to approve a $5 million bond that would add a junior high wing onto the high school. The district hosted a community meeting to give residents more information about the project and answer any questions they may have. If approved, the project would start by adding a gym to the high school campus for use by junior high students. Then phase 2 would add junior high classrooms to that campus.
Is building a gymnasium, a double gymnasium here right on the campus for the high school, but it will be a junior high gym, the phase 1, and we're having to do it in 2 phases because of the funding. So we'll do phase 1, and in 5 to 6 years we'll have raised enough money in our funding to start phase 2, which will be the classrooms and the cafeteria.
The bond would be paid for with a 9-cent increase to the property tax levy per $100 of assessed valuation. Citizens of Coffeyville, Kansas are speaking out in support of the fire station. KOAM's Amber Jenkins has more.
After the recent firing of Coffeyville's fire chief, Kenny Ward, the community wants answers from the city.
That to me is sad. To me, the citizens of Coffeyville need to step forward. Us people who have parents here who are going to grow old here. And we need to stand up for our city and ask for what we need.
The fire chief's termination is not the only issue at hand. Former firefighters want to express the importance of the hazmat team to the fire station and the community.
I just want to set the record straight because there's been some discussion as to how the hazmat team is paid.
The local fire union and community believes the city manager, Mark Hall, fired Ward due to disagreements over the pay rate for the hazmat team. The community came out to the commissioners' meeting to express the support for the former fire chief.
Well, I don't know if they know this already, but the hazmat team was formed in Coffeyville because a regional flow study was done of the 12 counties in southeast Kansas, and Coffeyville has more hazardous materials to flow through this county than any of the other 12. It wasn't even close.
Multiple members of the community voiced that the restrictions the firefighters are under are keeping them from serving Coffeyville effectively.
But night or day, you could call them all the elderly people, and the current city manager put a stop to that.
I reached out to all of Coffeyville's commissioners and was denied a comment on the subject. Reporting in Coffeyville, Amber Jenkins, KOAM News.
Coffeyville officials plan to address the issues at the next city commissioner meeting. U.S. Cellular and the Boys and Girls Club of Southwest Missouri announced winners of the 4th annual Black History Month art contest. Winners from 1st to 3rd place are Tylen, Emmy, Tanya, and Landon. Artwork includes historical figures, world leaders, scientists, and educators.
I just hope yes, they got to practice their skills in art and also look into our culture, some of the important figures in our history that have helped shape how our culture is today.
First place won $250, second place $150, and third place was $100. The finalist artwork was digitally displayed in U.S. Cellular's Joplin location. Tuesday marked 3/14 National Pie Day, and to celebrate, a Southeast Kansas country store had some sweet deals. Circles Pecan and Country Store in McCune specializes in pecan pies, deli sandwiches, candies, fudge, and other Amish goods. The store's owners say Pie Day is the perfect day to host a sale and offer some freebies to the public.
So today our specials are 50 cents off a slice of pie, $1 off any other pie in the store, and it's double punch day. We have a loyalty card that you get punched every time you come in and buy a pie, and today you'll get double the amount of punches so you can earn free pie that much sooner.
Circles Pecan and Country Store is on Highway 400 in McCune. That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, Missouri Southern continues to burn up this baseball season as one of the hottest teams in the MIAA. Could this pride of Lions continue to roar at home against Rogers State? Chris has the answer in sports. Plus, we'll meet a group of students of color who look to make their mark on the multi-billion-dollar gaming industry. And experts for years have touted the benefits of a good night's sleep, and now they tout one more: longer life expectancy. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back.
Missouri Southern baseball is one of the hottest teams in the MIAA right now. The Lions have won 7 of their first 9 conference games after sweeping 5th-ranked Central Oklahoma over the weekend. After having Monday off, the Lions roared right back onto the field last night. Missouri Southern at home for a midweek conference game against Rogers State. Top of the 3rd, Jomny Martinez drives this one sharply up the middle. Rogers State is able to get 2 runs out, and they take an early 2-0 lead. Lions were held scoreless for 3 innings until the Matt Miller comes up to bunt and gets good fortune to go his way as the ball goes over the third baseman's head. That gets the Lions on the board. It's a 2-1 ball game. Later in the inning, Shaden Beck gets the bunt down. That would ultimately give Lions a 3-2 lead, their first lead of the day. Lions aren't done yet. The inning continues, this time with bases loaded. Nate Myskowski, a swing and a drive, and that one's not coming back. It is a grand slam. Missouri Southern scores 14 runs in the bottom of the 4th. They cruise to a 19-3 win over Rogers State. Pittsburgh State Grill is also taking the field Tuesday night, hosting MIAA rival Emporia State. In the 2nd inning, Hornets with a runner on first trying to steal, but Nixon Brannon, perfect throw to get the out. Just moments later, Kason Long gets out of the inning with the strikeout, but Pitt State down 2-0 going to the bottom of the 3rd. That's when the offense gets going, though. Austin Workins gets one through the right side, then gets through the outfield out there. Joe Hamilton scores all the way from first. Workins advances to 3rd. After that, Nixon Brannon up. drops one into left field. Workin scores. Gorillas take a 3-2 lead after 3 in the 8th. They're back down 1, but Nixon Brannon comes up in a big spot again. Burns the center fielder out there. Carson Coffey trots in to tie the game. RBI double for Brannon. Gorillas get a sac fly moments later to take the lead. And they hold on to it. Gorillas win a good one over Emporia State, 9-8.
Biggest thing is we found a way to win. It wasn't pretty all night. We didn't do a lot of the little things right to be successful, but we got away with it. We got to learn from it, and we got to be better over the weekend. We got to get leadoff hitters out. We set first 7 innings, you had runners all over the place. We didn't get the leadoff hitter out by walks or singles, and it gets you in trouble. But the last 2 guys, Weddle and Pomeroy, were great for us. Gave us an opportunity to win the baseball game.
Missouri Southern softball is on a 9-game winning streak. Last Friday, they played their first MIAA games of the season, sweeping a doubleheader from Central Missouri. Missouri Southern on the field for another conference doubleheader Tuesday afternoon on the road against Lincoln. In Game 1, the Lions fall in a tight one, 4-3. Josie Topfie goes 2 for 4 with a solo home run for Missouri Southern. So in Game 2, Southern tries to bounce back and split the day, and that's what they did, winning 7-3. Adriana Young goes 1 for 2. In the game with a pair of RBIs. Well, still to come, major museums around the world have been quietly recategorizing Russian artwork. We've got the details. And we're going to talk about that warm-up and those rain chances when the KOAM Morning News returns. Well, we've got a lot to talk about with changes in our weather over the next roughly 36 hours across the area. Let's dive right in. So tomorrow morning, we're going to start to see a few scattered showers around the area, say around 6:30. And we'll continue to see some scattered showers throughout the morning hours until we get into the afternoon. We're going to start to see a few more organized showers, maybe even some thunderstorms out there. And then later in the afternoon and early evening hours, we'll get this line of thunderstorms developing out across southeast Kansas, and that will continue to roll across the area as we head through the late afternoon, early evening hours. And we could see a few stronger storms with these. Now, the higher probabilities of stronger storms are right along and south of I-44, and they could have some gusty winds, maybe some small hail, and those would be gusty winds on top of gusty winds we're already going to see as we head into tonight and tomorrow as well. Once those thunderstorms clear out, that cold front rolls through, temperatures drop back behind that, and we could see an opportunity for a brief period of some light snow across the region. Shouldn't add up to much, but there is that possibility out there. With those winds, today they're going to start picking up that 20, 30, maybe even for some of us upwards of 40 miles an hour. And then as we head into tonight and into tomorrow, we're going to see those wind gusts picking up in that 30, 40, maybe even upwards of 45 mile an hour range as we head through our Thursday ahead of this cold front and even on the backside. And you can see right where that front is, where those wind arrows change and where some of us actually get a brief break in some of those gusty winds. And it's going to make it feel even colder as temperatures drop. MoDOT camera, 20th and Range Line looks good. Same at 7th and Range Line. We're doing much better this morning too. We're at 40 in Joplin. Feeling like 33 though with a south breeze at 13. Across the area, again, it's a chilly start. 38 Iola, Fort Scott, 39 Yates Center, Chanute, 37 Chitopa, 40 in Miami, 37 Neosho, and we're up to 39 in Carthage, putting us anywhere from 10 upwards of 20 degrees warmer now than where we were 24 hours ago. As we get our day started, we'll be mostly sunny. Winds will start picking up, and we're into the lower 50s by late morning. We head into the afternoon, clouds will increase, but temperatures increase as well. We're looking to be right around 61, so just a pinch above average. We'll have those mostly cloudy skies, breezy conditions. Same heading into this evening, a break in the cloud cover, then it'll increase again. Winds stay with us. We're down to 49 for our low. And a quick look at the 7-day. So we're going to make it up to 60 tomorrow with those storms. Then we get cold after that, 25 for the low, 44 Friday. A cool weekend up to 48 for the first day of spring, and we'll start to warm up as we head into next week. Well, from mobile games to Twitch and YouTube streamers to esports, video games have become an enormous entertainment industry. Michael George shows us a new program helping young people of color take their first step into the world of gaming.
Lori Lamont grew up playing video games, but it wasn't until recently that her hobby became something more.
I never thought game design would be a possible career path for me.
She heard about a new program offered at City College of New York called Gaming Pathways.
That instinct is really good.
Encouraging people of color to work in the multi-billion-dollar gaming industry. The International Game Developers Association survey found less than a third of gaming workers are people of color, and only 5% are black.
That kind of pushed me away from that pathway because I'm like, if someone like me is stepping in the door, then what does that leave for me? You know, like would people even like welcome me with open arms?
We're going to do them one at a time.
More than 1,000 students will be taught programming, visual arts, and game design. The program got $2 million in funding from the City of New York to help grow the city's gaming industry.
So do you remember the structure of this?
Program Director Nicholas Fortuno says diversity is vital.
When industries aren't diverse, especially industries in entertainment or storytelling, they end up telling stories to the same people, and that ignores whole markets of storytellers and whole kinds of stories.
More colleges across the country have established curriculums to help make gaming a career path. Lori is now on track to be a game artist, and she has advice for anyone thinking about working in video games.
It's gonna be hard, but it's okay. Other people have your back, and definitely be open-minded.
What was once kids' play, now
Are you updating your own tasks?
becoming a career. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
Now, in terms of revenue, the video game industry is now larger than Hollywood and the music industry combined. And that brings us to our question for you this morning. Do you play video games? Yes or no? You can vote through our website, koamnewsnow.com/vote. You can also do so in our app and take part in the discussion on our Facebook page. We'll be back with Health Watch right after this.
Shiny new toy. Get be safe.
Topping Health Watch this morning, the FDA says kids between the ages of 6 months and 4 years of age are now eligible for a booster dose of the updated bivalent vaccine. The Food and Drug Administration announced its new authorization on Tuesday. The agency said kids in this age group who received 2 doses of the original vaccine became eligible to get a bivalent booster in December and should have gotten it already. Tuesday's announcement applies only to kids who got 3 doses of the original vaccine before December. Now, this group was not previously eligible for a bivalent booster. The original vaccine protects against the strain of the coronavirus that circulated at the very beginning of the pandemic. The bivalent version, which came out in the fall, also protects against the Omicron BA4 and BA5 subvariants. The Food and Drug Administration is updating the fact sheet for Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 vaccine. It now includes a new warning about the risk of myocarditis or pericarditis after use. Myocarditis is the swelling of the heart, while pericarditis is the swelling of the sac-like tissue that surrounds the heart. FDA says these side effects have been reported in some people, usually within the first 8 days after vaccination. The agency says the risk is very low. Myocarditis is also a rare risk following the mRNA vaccines made by Pfizer and Moderna. People can also get myocarditis after a COVID-19 infection. The Environmental Protection Agency is proposing new regulations to make drinking water safer. The EPA announced Tuesday under proposed regulations, water systems would have to monitor for 6 specific forever chemicals, also known as PFAs. Those are synthetic chemicals that linger in the environment and the human body and can cause serious health problems. The water systems would also have to notify the public about the levels of PFAs in the water and work to reduce them if they go above the standard allowed. EPA says the proposal would prevent thousands of deaths due to exposure to these chemicals, as well as tens of thousands of serious illnesses. It would be one of the first new chemical standards that updates the Safe Drinking Water Act since 1996. According to a recent poll, almost 7 in 10 adults who do not sleep well say it affects their mental health. Now, a new study shows that our sleep habits can also affect life expectancy. Janet Shamalian has the tips experts say could help you sleep better and live longer.
A good night's sleep won't just make you feel better. It could add years to your life.
What surprised you about the findings in this study?
The potential years of life expectancy gain, just based on, I think, fairly achievable targets in terms of sleep quality.
For women, more than 2 additional years. For men, almost 5. According to the American College of Cardiology study, which included more than 170,000 Americans. Dr. Carol Ash is a sleep expert.
We now know that poor quality sleep can lead to many of the chronic diseases we're trying to treat and can shorten your lifespan.
Like cardiovascular disease and diabetes. The study qualified a good night's sleep as 7 to 8 hours a night, not using sleep medication, feeling well rested at least 5 days a week, and no trouble falling or staying asleep most nights.
What are good sleep habits?
Your body needs time to wind down at night. You want to make sure that your environment is calm, quiet, and dark and cool.
Also, aim for regular bedtime and avoid alcohol and caffeine before sleep. Stay away from screens like your phone or television, and don't discount a midday nap.
Speaking of naps, what's a coffee nap?
The idea is if you take a nap and drink the coffee right before the nap, you'll be able to get 20 minutes or 40 minutes of nap time in. And when you wake up, you'll have the caffeine burst just as you're waking up out of the nap.
Putting sleep issues to bed for potentially longer life. Janet Shamlian, CBS News, Houston.
That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
And we are watching the possibility of a few thunderstorms as we head into our Thursday. We're looking at just general thunderstorms overall, but we could see a few stronger storms, especially in this dark green area. If we do see any, we're talking about maybe some gusty winds and some small hail. And that'll be on top of the gusty winds we're going to see as we head into the rest of today and into our Thursday. We're not expecting a lot of rain out of this, roughly about a ½ inch or so, maybe an inch on average. However, with some of the thunderstorms, we could see some slightly higher amounts. In terms of the timing of all this, our day today is going to be nice. We'll get to that forecast a little later. But as we head into tomorrow morning, that's when we'll start to see a few showers around the area. As the morning goes on, we'll see a few more showers. And by about noon, we'll see more scattered showers and thunderstorms. And then after a break, later in the afternoon, we'll see a line of storms develop across southeast Kansas and roll our way. And this is going to be our best shot for some stronger thunderstorms across the area as we head into Thursday evening. We'll have another complete look at your full forecast when we come back.
Right now at 5:30, a convicted child sex offender returns to jail with more than 24 child porn charges.
And while it's still chilly outside this morning, we are warmer than where we were, and we will be much warmer later today. We'll talk about that in our storm chances coming up.
And the madness of March basketball tips off soon. This year, that means sports betting in Kansas. KOAM Shagun Bombadele takes a closer look at what risk this poses for gambling addiction.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's now 5:32. I'm Tanya Bott.
I'm Chris Warner. So we are much warmer this morning than we were yesterday. It's still chilly, but it is much better than where we started yesterday. We're also watching storm chances as we head into our Thursday. So you can see there that light green is where we could see some thunderstorms. That darker green is where we have the possibility of a strong storm or two. And we could even see 1 or 2 outside of that area. If we see any stronger storms tomorrow, we're talking maybe some small hail and gusty winds. But we're also talking gusty winds regardless of whether we see thunderstorms or not. We're looking to pick up roughly ½ an inch to even upwards of an inch of rain across the area, and some of those thunderstorms could bring some heavier rainfall amounts to some areas as well. Our day today is looking really good. We're going to talk about that in just a moment, but as we head into tomorrow morning, around 6:30 or so, we'll start to see some scattered showers across the area, and then as we head through the late morning and into the early afternoon, more showers, maybe even some thunderstorms. We'll get a pause with a few scattered showers, and we see this line develop by about 2:30 across southeast Kansas, and it will roll across the area as we head into Thursday evening, and that'll bring us our best chance of thunderstorms. And again, we could see a couple of strong storms with that activity. Once that pushes on through at the front, temperatures will drop back behind that, and we could see the possibility of a brief period of some light snow. But the good news is at this point, that snow really shouldn't add up to much of anything. Wind gusts today will start picking up in that 20-30 mile an hour range, even upwards of 40 for some of us. And as we head later into the day and into the overnight and tomorrow, that's when we'll see those wind gusts pick up 30, 40, maybe even upwards of 45 miles an hour. MoDOT camera, 20th and Range line looks good. Same at 7th and Range line. Again, a bit warmer, 40 in Joplin. Feeling like 33 though, because we got that south breeze at 13 miles an hour. Across the area, temperatures 38 Fort Scott, 40 Parsons, 39 Miami, and 38 in Neosho, putting us anywhere from 10 to 20 degrees warmer than where we were this time yesterday. As we get our day started, the winds will start to pick up. We're sunny skies into the lower 50s by late morning. We're looking at highs highs at or above average into the lower 60s today. Clouds increase this afternoon. We'll get a pause in the clouds and they'll come back in as we head in late evening and overnight. We'll stay breezy and temperatures only drop down to a mild 49 degrees. We'll have more on your forecast here in just a few more minutes. Tanya?
All right, thanks, Chris. A Moraine, Kansas man previously convicted of child sex crimes is back in jail on child porn charges. 58-year-old Keith Levesque faces 31 counts of sexual exploitation of a child. Court records show Levesque had previously been charged with 95 counts of sexual exploitation of a child in 2018. He later pleaded guilty to 3 reduced charges and received a 25-year probation sentence in 2020. When March Madness begins this week, it'll be the first time betting on the tournament will be legal in Kansas, but that can bring a problem. KOAM Shagun Bomdale spoke to a certified peer specialist about gambling addictions and has more.
According to a study by the National Council on Problem Gambling, around 2% of adults in the U.S. have a gambling problem. That equates to around 5 million people.
It can be likened to any other addiction in that people can get completely consumed by it, powerless over it, and it's an absolute homewrecker.
Gambling addiction can be a slippery slope.
Well, I think it's a very subtle slide into addiction. People start out, and it's fun at first, and then they find that it becomes fun plus problems, and then it's just problems. And by the time it's just problems, they find themselves trapped in it.
This is the first year sports betting is legal in Kansas. One local says it will be betting this year.
I wouldn't really bet more on like the teams that are very popular and have a good skill set, but rather on the teams that get overlooked and see if they can shock the world and make it to the top where nobody has really ever made it to.
Although he has lost money in the past, Brooks says it is good to have some skin in the game.
Rather than just watching it at your own house or in the stands or wherever you're at, you can really be involved in the game, whether it's them shooting the ball or them getting a steal. It really just depends on what's going on, but mainly it just gets you involved in the game.
Reporting in Pittsburgh, Shagun Bomdale, KOAM News.
Sports gambling became legal in Kansas in September. The National Council on Problem Gambling offers resources and support to people who may be struggling with addiction. Well, this morning we're discussing video games.
It's believed the first video game came out as far back as 1958. It was a pretty simple tennis-style game similar to the classic 70s video game Pong.
Here we are some 65 years later, and the look and sound of video games have evolved to near realistic levels, and the video game industry has turned into a massive multi-billion-dollar juggernaut. In terms of revenue, the video game industry rakes in more money than Hollywood and the music industry combined.
And that's where a program called Gaming Pathways comes into play. For the program, it's important that people of color have the skills to create and program video games as well. For them, it's not just about playtime, it's about representation. And that does bring us to our question for you this morning. Do you play video games? I do, and I've been teaching the kids how to play some of those old classic games. So far, it's an even split. 50% of you say you do, 50% of you say you do not. So make sure you take time to vote through our website, the app, and take part in the discussion on our Facebook page. Maybe share what your favorite video game is.
I remember as a little kid going to my grandma and grandpa's house. We didn't have any video games at that point. We later got an Atari.
Yeah, that was my first
deal,
one.
But they had Pong, and that was so much fun. I mean, it was just boom, 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 two-player game.
Super easy entertainment.
Yes. Yeah. Boy, have things evolved.
Indeed they have.
My kids would look at that and be like, what?
What is that? How do you play that?
How boring. All right, that's a look at our top news stories. Coming up this half hour in the KOAM Morning News, the scariest part of a haunted house attraction in Springfield isn't the ghosts and goblins. It's the city's efforts to shut it down.
Plus, the Pentagon reports a Russian military jet sent a U.S. drone crashing into the Black Sea after clipping it. We've got the details.
You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back. Topping World Watch for the first time since July of 1989, Argentina's yearly inflation rate has topped 100%. That's according to new figures released by the country's statistical body INDEC. According to INDEC, prices rose 102.5% in February compared to a year before. Now, prices rose 6.6% between January and February and 13.1% in the first 2 months of the year combined. February is the 13th straight month that the South American country reported a monthly inflation rate above 4%, generally considered a threshold for healthy economies. North Korea confirms 2 ground-to-ground missiles and a medium-range system were launched by the Korean People's Army on Tuesday. And that's according to KCNA, a state media agency. The 11th Fire Assault Company of the unit participated in the drill and launched the missiles. Now, South Korean military on Tuesday said North Korea had launched 2 short-range ballistic missiles toward the waters off the east coast of the peninsula. Pentagon says a Russian military jet hit a U.S. drone early this morning over the Black Sea, sending it crashing into the water. Now, for more than half an hour, 2 jets made a total of 19 passes before accidentally clipping the drone. Nicole D'Antonio has details on the latest incident to add to the rising tensions between the two nations.
U.S. officials say a Russian jet approached the drone from the rear, dumping fuel. They believe the jet meant to come up in front so the drone would fly into the fuel cloud, but pulled up too short and clipped the drone's propeller.
Because of the damage, we were in a position to have to essentially crash it into the Black Sea. We assess that it likely caused some damage to the Russian aircraft as well.
The Pentagon says its MQ-9 drone was conducting an intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance mission. The crash happened 75 miles southwest of the Crimean Peninsula, a part of Ukraine seized by Russia.
These aircraft have been flying over the Black Sea region for some time, to include before the current conflict started.
The State Department summoned Russia's ambassador to lodge a protest.
This drone can carry a few bombs.
Anatoly Antonov says his country isn't looking for confrontation with the U.S. Russia's defense ministry denied its jet made contact.
We have to be very cautious regarding our actions, taking into account what is going on in eastern part of Europe.
The U.S. Navy has no ships in the Black Sea, putting them at a disadvantage in retrieving the wreckage. Nicole D'Antonio, CBS News, Washington.
Defense officials say Russia often intercepts U.S. drones, but it never turns out like this, and officials would not say if the drone was armed or not. Major museums around the world are quietly recategorizing Russian artwork. It comes after a months-long campaign by journalist and historian Oksana Semenik aimed to persuade U.S. institutions to relabel the historical works of art she believes are wrongly presented as Russian. At the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York, 2 artists once labeled Russian are now categorized as Ukrainian, and a painting by the French impressionist Edgar Degas has been renamed from Russian dancer to dancer in Ukrainian dress. That's a look at some of your biggest headlines from around the world. We'll be right back.
Spigarelli-law.com. That's Spigarelli-law.com.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. Keeping our eye on thunderstorm chances as we head into Thursday. Could see a couple of strong storms out of this system as well, especially in this dark green area. And if we see any, we're looking at small hail and some gusty winds as the primary risk, but we're going to have gusty winds outside of any thunderstorms as well. We're looking to pick up roughly ½ an inch to an inch of much needed rain across the area, which is good news, especially in parts of southeast Kansas, which have not seen much rain with the last few systems, and that's where the drought situation is still in extreme situations. Now for today, we're looking to be pretty good, and we'll get to all of today here in just a moment, but I want to talk about tomorrow morning. As we get it around 6:30, we're going to start to see some scattered showers across the area. As the morning progresses and we get toward about the noon hour, we're going to see more showers, maybe even some thunderstorms. Then there will be a pause with just a few isolated showers as a line of thunderstorms develops along this front out across southeast Kansas, and that'll begin to roll across the area from the afternoon into the evening hours. And this is our best window for thunderstorms. It's our best window if we're going to see a couple of strong storms. This will be the time that we do see them as we head through Thursday evening. Now, once we get on the backside of that front, we are going to get cold. Temperatures drop pretty quickly, and that does open the window for the possibility of at least some brief light snow across the area. It shouldn't add up to much, but we could see that changeover. We'll have winds gusting this morning in that 20 to 30 mile an hour range, and as we head into the afternoon, gets that 30, 35 mile an hour range, and as we head overnight, we're talking 40, maybe even 45 mile an hour wind gusts as we head overnight and into our Thursday as well. So that's what we're talking about. Outside of any thunderstorms, it's going to be gusty anyway. MoDOT camera, 20th and range line. Looks good so far. Same at 7th and range line, and we're doing better temperature-wise. 40 in Joplin, clear skies. 33 is what it feels like with that south breeze at 13 miles an hour. South breeze for all of us this morning. 38 in Fort Scott, 39 in Chinook, 41 Neodesha, 39 Chitopa, 41 Miami, 37 Neosho, and 39 in Carthage. And that's putting us anywhere from 10 to 20 degrees warmer than we were 24 hours ago. So we go through our day. We're going to start the morning mostly clear across the area, and we'll start to see the winds increase, making it into the lower 50s by late morning. As we head into the afternoon, we're going to be at or above average by a little bit, highs in the lower 60s. Clouds will increase this afternoon. We stay breezy, then the clouds clear out a little bit this evening before they return as we head into the overnight hours. We stay breezy again and drop back down to a low of only 49 degrees, so well above normal there. Tomorrow, we're going to make it up to 60. Those thunderstorms come in, that cold front comes through, drops us down to 25. Only 44 for St. Patty's Day, 42 on Saturday, 48 on the first day of spring, so quite chilly compared to where we should be. However, as we head into next week, we'll see our temperatures start to warm into the 60s, near 70 by next Thursday, maybe some thunderstorm chances next Thursday, and we still stay into the lower 60s by next Friday. That's a check of your forecast. We're back with more right after this.
Ford State here for Honda.
It's not ghosts and goblins trying to shut down a haunted house in Springfield, Missouri. It's the city using eminent domain. Joe Hickman reports on the owner's efforts to get voters to save his spooky fun business.
We was getting ready to start with the lawsuit.
House of Terror owner Sterling Mathis has decided to take a different tact in trying to save the downtown Springfield business he's been a part of for 45 years, since he was 16 years old.
We're one of the longest running haunted houses in America right now.
So that's why he's following in the footsteps of the Galloway neighborhood's successful zoning fight by collecting signatures to put his future in the hands of voters after the city council recently voted to take over his property by eminent domain. The city's charter allows for voting referendums if enough signatures can be gathered, but
to our knowledge, a referendum process has never been used in an eminent domain situation here in Springfield.
The issue is that the city wants to tear down the building because it interferes with much needed repairs to the Main Street Bridge nearby and the Jordan Creek Renewal Project. Officials say if the hotel stays in place,
we would definitely have to redesign the project. It is a bottleneck, and the whole project at its core is a flood reduction project. And so in order to reduce the flooding on Main Avenue, as well as fix the bridge, we would need that structure to no longer be there.
The city says the bridge is in such bad shape that it has weight limits.
CU buses are not allowed to cross it, as well as fire vehicles.
Mathis disagrees with several city statements, including that they've tried to bargain in good faith.
They've offered me $550,000. Well, I just got an estimate on a roof that needs to be fixed on my other building. It's $375,000 just for that.
Our process includes getting multiple third-party appraisals. So that's bringing in somebody who's independent, not from the city. And our offer has been basically offering him what a comparable building would be.
If they can set me up where I can do the same thing as I'm doing right now, I don't want any money. Just get me over there and get us going.
Mathis is still trying to figure out just how many signatures he'll need, but is aiming for 2,000. If he does get enough signatures, the city council will have to decide what to do next.
So if it comes back to city council, they could vote to repeal the ordinance to move forward with eminent domain, or they could decide to put it to a vote of the people.
We'll have to see how this plays out. The city says it's still working to pay Mathis a fair price for his land. We'll be right back. It's been 1 month since the mass shooting on Michigan State University's campus. On Monday, a new art display on campus took flight. Of course, these are not real butterflies or flowers. Taking a closer look, you might be able to tell that these are actually coffee filters. Now, this is the handiwork of East Lansing artist Zararesh. Resh was originally working on this installation for the 3-year anniversary of COVID-19. When the shooting happened on MSU's campus, she quickly changed gears, and with the help of students and staff, they constructed hundreds of green and white butterflies for the installation. That's lovely. Well, heading to a completely different part of the world now, Glendale, Arizona, ceremonially renaming itself Swift City to celebrate the start of Taylor Swift's tour. She's kicking off the Errors tour with shows in Glendale State Farm Stadium on Friday and Saturday. She then heads off to 19 other cities. Other naming options included Swiftdale, Taylordale, the City of Taylor, Swift, Taylor Nation, but Swift City won out, and Taylor Town was the runner-up. The name Swift City is only for the weekend.
As we head through our day today, our morning getting it started, we're going to be sunny, we're going to be breezy, we're going to be warm. Temperatures into the lower 50s by late morning. As we head into the afternoon, clouds begin to increase across the area, and temperatures do as well. We're looking at highs in the lower 60s, wind gusts in that 25 to 35 mile an hour range. Winds continue to increase as we head into the overnight. A pause in the clouds this evening, and then they'll increase again overnight as well. We'll kind of get locked in at an overnight low of 49. Making it up to 60 tomorrow, strong cold front with showers and thunderstorms, down to 25 after that. 44 for St. Patty's Day, 42 Saturday, first day of spring, 48, and we'll start to warm up heading into next week. We crawl through the 50s into the 60s to near 70, maybe some thunderstorms next Thursday, and hanging out in the lower 60s by next Friday. We'll be back with another hour of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
Basketball, but for those with a gambling addiction, this time of year can mean more than just a game of chance.
We're watching thunderstorm chances heading into Thursday. Some of those could be a little on the strong side. We'll take a look at those thunderstorms and how warm it'll be today coming up.
And the East Newton School District in Granby, Missouri asked the public for a junior high wing to add to the high school.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. I'm Tanya Bach.
I'm Chris Warner, just after 6 o'clock on a Wednesday, halfway through the week already. And boy, we got some big changes coming to our weather here in the next 24 to 36 hours. So we're watching thunderstorm chances as we head into Thursday. You'd see in that darker green, that's where we have a better chance of maybe a strong storm or two, which could have some small hail and gusty winds. Thunderstorms otherwise just generally for us as we head into our Thursday. But we still could see, even outside that green area, a strong storm or two. The rain that we're expecting will be anywhere from roughly half an inch to upwards of an inch. And the good news is some of our friends in southeast Kansas, where the drought situation is still an extreme situation, they're going to get some more much needed rain, because the last few rain events we've had, there's not really been that much happening out in southeast Kansas. So as we go into tomorrow morning, we're going to start to see a few scattered showers across the region. And as the morning progresses and we head to right around noon, we'll see more showers, maybe some thunderstorms. There'll be a pause with just a few isolated showers as a line develops right along this cold front out in southeast Kansas tomorrow afternoon. And these storms will continue to push off to the east and roll across the area. Here we are about 5 o'clock tomorrow, and this is when our best shot of thunderstorms is. This is when our better shot of maybe a strong storm or two will be, as well as this front rolls through. Now on the back side of this front, you see the wind shift out of the north. We get cold pretty quickly, and that does open the window for maybe a brief period of some light snow for some of us, but the good news is we're not anticipating much out of that snowfall. Winds, as we go through the morning and into the afternoon, they're going to pick up that 20, 30, 35 mile an hour range. We head into this evening, they get into that 30 to 40 mile an hour range, and that's where they'll last or stick with as we head into the overnight. Could even see gusts pushing upwards of 45 miles an hour as we head into tomorrow, and that's outside of any thunderstorm activity that we may see. MoDOT camera, 20th and range line looks good. Same at 7th and range line. We're at 39 in Joplin, feeling like 32. The south breeze at 11 miles an hour. South breeze for everybody, which is going to be ushering in even more warm air. 37 in Nevada, Lamar, Carthage, Pittsburgh, Fort Scott, and Iola, as well as Chautauqua. 41 Neodesha, 39 Miami, also some 37s in Neosho and Anderson. So we get our day started. We're going to start off mostly clear, sunny skies, breezy, warm into the lower 50s by late morning. We head into this afternoon. We're going to be pushing highs right around 61 degrees. Windy, clouds increase, then they'll decrease briefly this evening before they will increase again as we head into the overnight hours. We'll stay windy. Those winds will begin to pick up. We're going to drop back down to an overnight low of 49 degrees, so not bad ahead of these storms. We'll have another look at your full forecast and what's happening after this cold front here in just a few more minutes. Tanya?
All right, thanks, Chris. A Moraine, Kansas man previously convicted of child sex crimes is back in jail on child porn charges. 58-year-old Keith Levesque faces 31 counts of sexual exploitation of a child. Court records show Levesque had previously been charged with 95 counts of sexual exploitation of a child in 2018. He later pleaded guilty to 3 reduced charges and received a 25-year probation sentence in 2020. When March Madness begins this week, it'll be the first time betting on the tournament will be legal in Kansas. That can bring a problem. According to a study by the National Council on Problem Gambling, around 2% of adults in the U.S. have a gambling problem, and that equates to around 5 million people. The group estimates 15 million more individuals are at risk of developing a gambling addiction. An addiction counselor in Joplin says the problem has grown here in the 4 states, and gambling addiction can be a slippery slope.
Well, I think it's a very subtle slide into addiction. People start out, and it's fun at first, and then they find that it becomes fun plus problems, and then it's just problems. And by the time it's just problems, they find themselves trapped in it.
Sports gambling became legal in Kansas in September. The National Council on Problem Gambling offers resources and support to people who may be struggling with addiction. The East Newton School District in Granby, Missouri is asking residents to approve a $5 million bond that would add a junior high wing onto the high school. The district hosted a community meeting to give residents more information about the project and answer any questions they may have. If approved, the project would start by adding a gym to the high school campus for use by junior high students. Then phase 2 would add junior high classrooms to that campus.
Is building a gymnasium, a double gymnasium here right on the campus for the high school, but it will be a junior high gym, the phase 1, and we're having to do it in 2 phases because of the funding. So we'll do phase 1, and in 5 to 6 years we'll have raised enough money in our funding to start phase 2, which will be the classrooms and the cafeteria.
The bond would be paid for with a 9-cent increase to the property tax levy per $100 of assessed valuation. Severe weather slamming both coasts of the country, causing hundreds of flight cancellations and causing tens of thousands to be without power. California was hit by its 11th atmospheric river this season, bringing in gusty winds and more rain than the waterlogged ground can soak up. Meanwhile, a nor'easter is blanketing parts of the northeast under more than a foot of snow. Jared Hill has more.
Spring may be a week away, but winter weather is walloping the Northeast. Parts of New England buried in over 2 feet of snow.
Honestly, the heaviest snow I've ever seen. It should be a new category.
It's New England, and it's still March. Winter's not over yet.
The wind and wet snow snapped trees and weighed down power lines, leaving tens of thousands without power.
Internet's down, Wi-Fi is terrible. I mean, we can't, our cell phones don't work up here right now.
The wintry mix also affected air travel, with hundreds of flights canceled Tuesday, including at Boston Logan International Airport.
I got on a flight that was 10 hours later, so I've been waiting and tracking that flight. And that one was just canceled.
Wild winter weather is also affecting parts of the Midwest. There's now a huge hole in the roof of this shopping mall in Duluth, Minnesota. It collapsed while crews were on top, trying to clear the snow off. The mall was closed to shoppers, though some workers were inside getting ready to open. Fire officials say no injuries were reported.
They heard some popping sounds, so they immediately got off the roof.
Out west, flash flooding. Parts of California soaked by the 11th atmospheric river to wash through the state this season. The storms of strong winds and heavy rain toppling trees. One collapsed south of San Francisco during an interview with CBS affiliate KPIX.
There it goes. Oh my God. Oh.
Tens of thousands of Californians have been under evacuation orders. Jared Hill, CBS News.
The nor'easter is expected to taper off in the Northeast later today. while the system responsible for that atmospheric river in California will move eastward, and that could lead to severe storms in the southern U.S. later this week. Now, the ongoing winter weather is affecting air travel today in the U.S., with a few hundred flights already delayed or canceled. Don't forget, you can be the first to know about the day's weather with the KOAM Skywatch weather app. Get severe weather updates sent straight to your phone free of charge. It's available in the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. The KOAM Skywatch weather app. That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, the growing problem of Alzheimer's.
A new report shows more Americans are being diagnosed with Alzheimer's. I'm Naomi Ruckham with the many challenges their caregivers are facing.
Plus, President Biden hands down an executive order with the aim of tightening background checks. And Chris has a complete look at your forecast, including if the 4 states has rain chances in its future. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back.
Instant rebate event. Exclusive rebates on luxury vinyl, ceramic tile, hardwood, and carpet.
Save hundreds
at Johnson Floor and Home.
Topping Nation Watch this morning, President Biden turns his focus to gun violence on Tuesday. He announced new executive action on background checks. Brian Todd has more on the administration's plans for gun reform.
President Biden meeting with victims of the mass shooting in Monterey Park, California, where 11 people were killed and 9 wounded in a dance hall in January, amid the push to reduce gun violence in America.
Enough. Do something. We remember and mourn today, but I'm here with you today to act.
The president marks the moment by announcing a new executive order. Among other steps, it will attempt to increase background checks by clarifying and enforcing which gun sellers need to do them.
It'll accelerate and intensify this work to save more lives more quickly.
But the president has still not been able to press into law some of the gun measures he's most passionate about, like universal background checks. As for his other ambitious goals,
and I'm determined once again to ban assault weapons and high-capacity magazines.
Analysts say there's no realistic chance of that with a Republican-led House of Representatives.
When it comes to assault-style weapons, whether individual Americans should be able to privately own military-style weaponry, public opinion is clearly on the president's side. But what's not on his side is the numbers on Capitol Hill, and increasingly it looks like the judiciary probably isn't on his side either.
Last year, in the wake of the Uvalde, Texas mass school shooting, the president signed into law the most comprehensive gun control measure in almost 3 decades, providing incentives for states to enact red flag laws, which allow for courts to temporarily deny guns to people perceived to be threats to themselves or others, and imposing enhanced background checks for gun buyers between the ages of 18 and 21. But many, including Biden himself, saw that law as just a tiny step. And since the beginning of this year, there have been at least 110 mass shootings in the U.S., leaving more than 150 dead. Gun violence is now the leading cause of death among children and teens, and getting worse. During a surge of child mortality in America over the last 2 years, a new study says, gun violence is a central factor responsible for nearly half the jump in 2020.
I think that there's a certain numbness that's developed. We've been dealing with this at least 2 decades of just mass shootings, public shootings, school shootings. At the same time, 456 million guns have been produced for this market, this domestic market, since 1899.
While the politics continues to play out over stronger gun measures, some of the nation's top law enforcement leaders are urging Congress to take stronger action on guns. Recently retired Phoenix Police Chief Jerry Williams told a Senate panel, quote, "We're outgunned, we're outmanned, we're outstaffed. We need more responsible gun legislation." And that's a look at one of today's top national stories. Here's Chris with a look at your forecast.
Yeah, we've got ourselves some showers and even some thunderstorms that are going to be rolling into the area tomorrow. We're going to take a look at those storms and talk about the possibility of some strong storms and our gusty winds that are on the way when we come back. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. Coming up on 6:17, time for a little weather trivia for you this morning. So fog and mist are similar, but they're not completely the same. What distinguishes fog from mist? Is it the location, temperature, density, or the time of year? While we think about that, let's take a look at our forecast. Our camera, 7th and range line, looks good so far, but we are watching thunderstorm chances as we head into tomorrow across the region. So in the darker green is where we're seeing a better shot for a strong storm or two, and that could have some small hail, maybe some gusty winds outside of the already gusty winds that we'll see heading into tomorrow. However, there is the possibility of a stray strong storm just about anywhere across the area. We'll take a look at that here in just a moment. In terms of rainfall, we're looking to average about half an inch to an inch of rain. The good news is some of our friends in southeast Kansas that have missed out on the last couple of rain events are going to get some more much needed rainfall out there, because that's where our drought situation is still at extreme levels. Now today's looking really good. We'll talk about today here in just a moment, but tomorrow morning, right about 6:30, we're going to start to see some scattered showers develop across the area. As we go through the morning and into about the noon hour, we'll see more showers, maybe some thunderstorms. We get a pause in the activity with some isolated showers as a line of storms develops right along this cold front by about 2:30 tomorrow afternoon in southeast Kansas. And this line will race off to the east across southeast Kansas by Thursday evening around 5. It's right here, right on top of the Pittsburgh, Fort Scott, Miami area, just outside of Joplin. This is where we open up the window for the best opportunity for thunderstorms and where we could see a strong storm or two. Now, once this races through, by 7, we get on the backside of this cold front, temperatures drop, and that could open the window for a brief transition to some light snow out there. We're not looking at much from that particular snowfall. Winds today, as we go through the morning and into the early afternoon, gusting 20, 30 miles an hour. As we head into the evening hours, we're going to start to see those gusts 30, possibly upwards of 40 miles an hour. We go overnight, they pick up to that 40, maybe even 45 mile an hour range, and that's where they'll stay as we head into our Thursday as well. And you can clearly see where that cold front's going to be about 4 o'clock out here. And even on the backside of this front, still some gusty winds to contend with. MoDOT camera, 20th and range line, looks pretty good so far. We are warmer this morning than we were yesterday by the order of about 10 to 20 degrees. We're at 39 in Joplin, feeling like 32 with a south breeze at 11. That south breeze is what's ushering in this warmer air for us. 37s, lots of them. Iola, Fort Scott, Nevada, Lamar, Pittsburgh, Carthage, Neosho, Anderson, Bentonville, Chautauqua. We got 40 in Parsons, 41 Neodesha, and 39 in Miami. So we get our morning started. Again, we're going to start with clear skies, plentiful sunshine, warming up quickly into the lower 50s. Winds start picking up a little after 8 this morning. Gusty winds through the afternoon. Clouds increase into our afternoon and early evening hours. Highs today, though, slightly above average into the lower 60s. As we head into tonight, we stay mild. The clouds clear out briefly, return overnight. We drop back down to a low of 49 with those gusty winds. All right, so what distinguishes fog from mist? Well, if you happen to guess C, density, you would be correct. See, with fog, the visibility is reduced to less than half of a mile, and mist manages to reduce the visibility to 5/8 of a mile or more. All right, tomorrow, 60 degrees, 25 for the low, though, after that cold front, only 44 St. Patty's Day, 42 Saturday, 48 for the first day of spring. But after that, we're going to start to warm up mid to upper 50s as we kick off the next work week. That's a check of your forecast. We're back with Health Watch right after this.
Topping Health Watch this morning, exposure to the chemical trichloroethylene is associated with a 500% increased risk of Parkinson's disease, and that's according to a team of international researchers publishing in the Journal of Parkinson's Disease. Chemical is widely used to decaffeinate coffee, degrease metal, and dry clean clothes. Researchers say the runoff from these processes contaminates up to 1/3 of groundwater in the U.S. A new study finds children at the high end of the average weight range were 26% more likely to develop high blood pressure. That's compared to kids in the medium range. Researchers tracked more than 800,000 children in Southern California for 7 years. They also found the rate of high blood pressure was higher among boys and among children on state-subsidized health plans. Having a high level of caffeine in the blood might help keep body fat levels in check and lower the risk of type 2 diabetes. That's according to a new study in the British Medical Journal. Researchers say more study is needed about the role of calorie-free caffeinated drinks like coffee. And a new report from the Alzheimer's Association shows the number of people diagnosed continues to increase as the baby boomer population ages. Naomi Ruckham has more on the toll the disease can take on patients and their caregivers.
Are you okay?
Okay. William Rodriguez has been caring for his wife Maria since her Alzheimer's disease diagnosis several years ago. He says he realized something was off when his wife began misplacing things.
Silverware and plates and whatever came into her mind, and she would stick it underneath that bookcase.
It's estimated 6.7 million Americans over the age of 65 are now living with Alzheimer's, a number projected to grow to nearly 13 million by 2050. A new Alzheimer's Association report also finds patients and doctors are not talking about memory concerns.
It's important for primary care physicians to make this discussion a routine part of clinical care to get patients the diagnosis and the care that they need.
Neurologist Dr. Nicole Purcell says without these essential conversations, patients lose out on early interventions and possible clinical trials for treatment. The new report also estimates more than 11 million caregivers are providing unpaid care in the U.S.
Caregiving is a difficult job. Approximately 59% of caregivers report experiencing emotional stress as a result of caregiving.
How important is it to both of you that you stay mentally okay and happy?
That's extremely important, because if I can't function for her, then, it's all going to go down the drain.
Rodriguez says as his wife's memories are fading,
I like to remember her the way she was, not the way she is.
He focuses on remembering all the joyful moments he's had with the love of his life for more than 50 years. Naomi Ruckham, CBS News, New York.
And though there is no cure for Alzheimer's disease, there are medications and trials aimed at slowing its progression, and there are currently more than 140 therapies being tested. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
Yeah, we've got ourselves a warmer start today than we were yesterday, almost 20 degrees warmer. 39 in Joplin, feels like 32 though, because we got a south breeze at about 11 miles an hour. Southerly breeze for everybody, making us a little warmer. 37 Lamar, Nevada, Fort Scott, Iola, and Pittsburgh. 40 in Parsons, 39 Miami, and 36 in Neosho. As we get our morning started, we're going to have sunny skies. Winds will start picking up about 8:30 or so, and that's where we're going to see those gusts in that 20 to 30 mile an hour range. Will also start to warm into the lower 50s by late morning. Winds pick up this afternoon in that 25 to 35 mile an hour range. Highs pushing right around 61 degrees. Clouds increase as well. As we head into the evening, the clouds clear out briefly, and then they'll return overnight into the late night. We stay gusty. Winds start picking up in that 30 to 40 mile an hour range, and we drop back down to a pretty mild 49 degrees. As we head into tomorrow, strong cold front, those showers and thunderstorms, especially in the evening. 60 for the high. Then we drop back down to 25 degrees. 44 for St. Patty's Day, only 42 on Saturday. First day of spring should be closer to 60. It's not, unfortunately, 48. However, spring does start to arrive next week. Temperatures warm through the 50s into the 60s to near 70. We're watching some thunderstorm chances next Thursday, and even after that, we still hang out in the lower 60s across the region as we head into our Friday. Now, some of the storms that we see tomorrow could be on the strong side. We'll keep an eye on them, and we'll see some scattered showers and such starting, say, around 6:30 in the morning, but the biggest opportunity for thunderstorms and, again, a couple of stronger storms will be as we head into Thursday evening across the area. We've got more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
Right now at 6:30, the city of Wichita takes aim at some new job opportunities in the partnership with the ATF.
We've got a chilly start across the area for our Wednesday morning, but warm weather is on the way, as well as thunderstorm chances. We'll take a look at all of that coming up.
And the Boys and Girls Club of Southwest Missouri announces the winner of the 4th annual Black History Month art contest.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's now 6:30. I'm Tanya Bach.
I'm Chris Warner. So it is not that bad this morning. It's still chilly. I know that it is chilly out there, but it's still about 20 degrees warmer than where we were this time yesterday morning, which is nice. That's ahead, though, of some thunderstorm chances that we're watching as we head into our Thursday. So we do have the possibility of a couple of strong storms out there we're keeping an eye on. The better possibilities are in this dark green area, but that does not mean we can't see a couple outside outside of that. If we saw any stronger storms, though, the good news is we're only talking maybe some small hail and some gusty winds. However, the gusty winds, it's going to be pretty gusty regardless of storms. We're looking to pick up roughly ½ inch to an inch of rain across the area, which will be good news, especially for those in southeast Kansas still dealing with extreme drought situations out there. So as we head into tomorrow morning, we'll start to see a few scattered showers across the area between about 6:30. We go through the morning, a few more showers, and by noon we're seeing a few more showers and even a couple of thunderstorms. There's a pause in the activity, some isolated showers, and that is as the main activity fires up right along this cold front in southeast Kansas with some thunderstorms by about 2:30 tomorrow afternoon. These will roll through the area as we head into the evening hours, and this is when right around 5-6 o'clock tomorrow evening when we could see our best shot of thunderstorms and our possibility of a couple of strong storms along this line. This will roll through the area pretty quickly. By 7, it is gone. On the backside of this, we start to cool down very quickly, and that could open the window for a brief period of some light snow for some of us, especially in southeast Kansas. Shouldn't add up to much, but there is that possibility for that light snow. We'll have the wind gusts this morning, that 20 to 30 mile an hour range. This afternoon, they're 25 to 35 miles an hour, and as we head into tomorrow, they get into a 30 to 40 mile an hour range, perhaps a little greater. MoDOT camera, 20th and range line looks good. We're all right, chilly, but not bad. 39, Joplin feels like 32 with the south breeze at 11. Across the region, temperatures look like this: 37, Iola, Fort Scott, Nevada, Lamar, Pittsburgh, 39, Chautauqua, Miami, 36 in Neosho. And real quick, as we get our day started, we'll have the sunny skies, breezy conditions start kicking in, temperatures in the low 50s by late morning, and today we're looking at highs right around 61 degrees. Clouds increase a bit this afternoon, and we will stay gusty. We'll have another complete look at your forecast here in just a few more minutes. Tanya?
All right, thanks, Chris. New job opportunities are coming to Kansas after a partnership is made official with Wichita State. Jaya Brown has the details.
A new center expected to bring 100 jobs to the Wichita area.
The future in fighting against violent crime in this country is going to come straight through Wichita, and specifically through Wichita State.
Has announced the partnership with Wichita State University to help fight crime across the United States.
We're trying to catch trigger pullers and shooters who are terrorizing communities all over the United States. It's essential to solving federal firearm crimes, but it also prevents future crimes.
Senator Jerry Moran and the director of ATF says this center will bring internships and training for the careers in law enforcement.
I mean, it's pleasing to me when we bring a program to Wichita State and we're doing something at Wichita State that increases the opportunity for our students, but we always want to make sure that what goes with that are the jobs in Kansas that those students can fill. And we're now going to not only educate students, but create career opportunities for them here.
The Center of Excellence will also serve as a second crime laboratory to help process criminal evidence.
The NIBIN machine that does ballistics. So law enforcement sends in casings and they're analyzed, and then we hope to find the criminal as a result of that analysis. In addition to that, research is going to take place in this new facility. All around, I think, a significantly wonderful day for Kansas.
This partnership supports Wichita State's priority to bring in a new talent pipeline to the region and to diversify and boost the state's economy through innovative education. Well, Tuesday marked 3/14, National Pie Day, and to celebrate, a Southeast Kansas country store offered some sweet deals. Circles Pecans and Country Store in McCune specializes in pecan pies, deli sandwiches, candies, fudge, and other Amish goods. Store's owners say Pie Day is the perfect day to host a sale and offer some freebies to the public.
Most of our customers are travelers coming from Wichita, coming from Kansas City, coming from Branson, Springfield, back and forth. And so a lot of them will be like, oh, I'll be here tomorrow and I want to pick up pie then.
Well, Circles Pecans and Country Store is on Highway 400 just outside of McCune. Well, U.S. Cellular and the Boys and Girls Club of Southwest Missouri announced winners of the 4th annual Black History Month art contest. The winners from 1st to 3rd place are Tylen, Amitiana, and Landon. Artwork includes historical figures, world leaders, scientists, and educators.
I just hope yes, they got to practice their skills in art and also look into our culture, some of the important figures in our history that have helped shape how our culture is today.
First place, $250. Second place won $150, and third place $100. The finalist artwork is digitally displayed in U.S. Cellular's Joplin location. Well, this morning we're discussing video games.
It's believed the first video game came out as far back as 1958. It's a pretty simple tennis-style game, similar to the classic 70s video game Pong.
Here we are, some 65 years later, and the look and sound of video games has evolved to near realistic levels, and the video game industry has turned into a massive multi-billion-dollar juggernaut. In terms of revenue, video game industry rakes in more money than Hollywood and the music industry combined.
And that's where a program called Gaming Pathways comes into play. For the program, it's important that people of color have the skills to create and program video games as well. For them, it's not just about playtime, it's about representation. That brings us to our question for you this morning. Do you play video games? So far, 60% of you say you do not, 40% of you say that you do. So make sure you take time to vote in our through the website, through our app, take part in discussion on our Facebook page, and if you are a gamer, share what your favorite game is.
My kids like Fortnite and Roblox.
Yeah, that's where my kids are. But I have educated them on the world of Super Mario from the Super Nintendo era, and they thoroughly enjoy playing that as well.
Do you still have your old Super Nintendo?
I do, and it's got to be the one my parents bought, we're saying back in '94.
That's awesome.
So I don't know how it still functions, but it does.
I got one of those classic Ataris that has all the games built into it.
Oh, very nice.
Well, I didn't even have all those games, but you know, I was pretty good at River Raid and Frogger. Remember those? That's a look at our top news stories. Coming up this half hour in the KOAM Morning News, many families rely on mid-size SUVs, but a recent crash test shows almost half of the tested models earn low marks for backseat safety.
And we are watching a pretty pleasant day today with thunderstorm chances heading into tomorrow. We'll take a look at that full forecast when we come back.
In Consumer Watch this morning, today the Federal Aviation Administration is holding an airline safety summit prompted by a string of close calls at U.S. airports. Yesterday, we learned about yet another near collision, the seventh in recent months. At Washington's Reagan National Airport last week, an American Eagle jet taxied across the runway where United Airlines plane had just been cleared for takeoff. Investigators say it appears the pilot of the American Eagle jet made a wrong turn. CBS News has confirmed that the Department of Justice has opened an investigation into the collapse of Silicon Valley Bank just days after it was taken over by federal bank regulators. Federal law enforcement officials say the probe is in its early stages. Federal regulators also took over Signature Bank on Sunday. The FDIC is guaranteeing all deposits at both banks. And there's more bad news in Silicon Valley, where Facebook's parent company Meta announces a new wave of layoffs yesterday. CEO Mark Zuckerberg says the company is slashing 10,000 jobs in recruiting and tech through May. It will not fill another 5,000 open positions. Social media giant previously cut 11,000 jobs late last year amid a downturn in online advertising. Well, today, an important consumer alert about the safety of mid-size SUVs that so many families rely on. The Insurance Institute for Highway Safety is out with its new crash test results, with nearly half of the tested models earning its lowest ratings for backseat safety. Chris Van Cleve has more.
Tonight, 9 midsize SUVs popular with families saw their crash test ratings plummet in the latest Insurance Institute for Highway Safety test.
The majority of the midsize SUVs that we evaluated have a lot of work to do to improve safety for the rear seat position.
Did these SUVs become less safe than years past, or is this moving the goalpost on safety?
I wouldn't say that any of these vehicles became less safe. We continue to move the goalposts and create more challenging tests that we feel give consumers information about which vehicles are the safest.
The test simulates a 40-mile-per-hour front-end crash. Now they've added a test dummy about the size of a 12-year-old to the back seat, where the risk of a fatal injury is 46% higher compared to the front, where improved restraint technology is more commonly found. All 13 SUVs earned good marks for driver protection, but in the back, it was a different story. Only 4 received top marks when backseat protection was factored in. 3 others scored marginal, while 6 rated poor.
We just saw injury measures on the dummy that were too high on the chest, high levels of head and neck forces.
In December, IIHS tested small SUVs. 9 of the 15 scored poor. Only 2 received top marks. A spokesman for the auto industry says safety is a top priority and vehicles continue to get safer. Chris Van Cleve, CBS News, Washington.
That's it for Consumer Watch. Here's Chris with another look at your forecast.
And we're looking to be pretty decent today as we go through our morning. We're going to have sunny skies. Winds will pick up 20, 30 mile an hour wind gusts through the morning, getting into the lower 50s by late morning. As we head into the afternoon, we're looking at highs about 61 degrees, increasing clouds. Wind speeds pick up 25 to 35 miles an hour on those gusts. And overnight, they reach that 35, 40, maybe even 45 mile an hour peak as we stay clear initially. Clouds clear out briefly, then they return overnight. We drop back down to a low of 49 degrees. Strong cold front tomorrow. Showers and thunderstorms, especially in the evening. A couple of those could be strong. 60 for the high, 25 for the low. 44 St. Patty's Day. Cool through the weekend. Only 48 for the first day of spring. But we will warm up next week as we get into the 50s and the 60s, near 70, maybe some thunderstorms next Thursday, and still, even after that, into the lower 60s by next Friday. So spring will get here. It's just going to be a pinch late. Well, you made it to Hump Day. It sounds like the perfect reason to celebrate some birthdays and anniversaries. But before we do that, why don't we check out what's happening on CBS Mornings.
I'm Tony DeCopo. Coming up on CBS Mornings, the hit comedy Ted Lasso is back, and star Nick Mohammed joins us to talk about what we can expect in season 3. That's coming up on CBS Mornings.
Time for some Wednesday birthdays across the 4 states, and we begin in Riverton with Kaylin Phillips celebrating birthday number 8.
And we have Elijah McCarley celebrating birthday number 12.
And Gabe Duncan in Putwin, Kansas, celebrating birthday number 15. Happy birthday, Gabe.
Aiden No is turning 18 years old this year in Carthage.
And we've got Heather Marsh in Joplin celebrating number 43. She is the sister of our ever so fabulous assignment editor, Stephanie Marsh. And it says, happy birthday from all the family and, of course, all of us here as well. Happy birthday, Heather.
Happy birthday, Heather. Hope you have a wonderful day. And a happy birthday wish going out to Julie Cox, who's now 54 years old. Looking great there, Julie, in Lamar.
And Samantha Finley celebrating a birthday in Girard. Happy birthday.
And Bill and RG Hickman are celebrating their 65th anniversary. They're in Deerfield, Missouri.
And we've got Karen and Jim Vaughn celebrating their 52nd wedding anniversary. Our neighbors down in Crestline, happy anniversary to the Vaughns.
Our neighbor in Lawton, Lorna Alford, happy birthday to you.
And more neighbors for us. Betty Morgan celebrating birthday number 63 down in Crestline.
Vicki Hodge, our neighbor in Crestline. It's like our neighbor birthday list today.
It is.
Happy birthday, Vicki.
And we've got Octava Lehman celebrating birthday number 29 over in Frontenac. It's so wonderful to celebrate with our neighbors and all of our friends, and we'd like for you to celebrate with us. Tanya, how do they do that?
That's right. All you have to do is send us an email to KOAM News or birthdays at KOAMNewsNow.com.
All right, while you're at our website, why don't you take time to sign up for the KOAM Birthday Club? It's easy to do. You get great deals from local businesses. You also get a special birthday message from your friends here at KOAM. So all you need to do is head over to KOAMNewsNow.com and sign up for the KOAM Birthday Club today. All right, we got thunderstorms coming in tomorrow. We could see a couple of strong storms out of that. The better chance of stronger storms would be here in this dark green area, but we can't rule out a couple of other strong storms as we head into tomorrow evening. If we see any stronger storms, we're talking some small hail, maybe some gusty winds with those, so nothing too crazy, but do be prepared for that. And on top of any gusty winds from storms, it's going to be breezy regardless as we head into Thursday as well. Looking to pick up on the average about half an inch to nearly an inch of rain, and that's good for southeast Kansas. They've really missed out on the last couple of rain events out here further west, and that's where our drought situation is still extreme. So the more rain they can get, the better. And of course, we don't want that all at once. Now, as we head into tomorrow morning, about 6:30, we'll start to see a few showers popping up around the area. They'll be scattered. And as the morning goes on into about the noon hour, we'll see more showers, maybe even some thunderstorms pop up as we head into that. And then the cold front itself is right here. So we get a pause in the activity, with maybe an isolated shower or two. And then we get this line of storms that fires up along the front, say around 2:30 in southeast Kansas. This line will continue moving to the east. And as we head into Thursday evening, this is where our best window for some stronger storms may be. Regardless, though, thunderstorm activity for sure right along that front. Now that front moves through pretty quickly, so does that line of storms, and on the backside, wind shift out of the north gets us pretty cold pretty fast, and we could see a brief period of some light snow for some of us. The good news is we're not looking at anything major from the snow, but we could see some. As we go through the day, we're looking at gusts 20 to 30 miles an hour through the morning. Then they'll pick up 25 to 35 later this evening, and as we go into the overnight and into tomorrow morning, that's when they get to that 30, 40, maybe even 45 mile an hour range as we head into our Thursday. MoDOT camera, 20th and range line looks good. Right now in Joplin, we're at 39, feels like 32 with a south breeze at 11, and that southerly breeze ushering in the warmer air. That's why we're about 20 degrees warmer now than we were yesterday. 39 Fort Scott Chanute, 40 Parsons Neodesha, 39 Miami, and 36 in Neosho. As we get our day started, we're going to start sunny. We're going to start to see the winds pick up. Temperatures warm into the lower 50s by late morning. Looking at a mild day, slightly above average even, as we get to about 61 for the high. Clouds increase this afternoon, and we stay breezy. Staying breezy overnight, a brief break in the clouds late evening, and then they'll increase again overnight as we drop back down to a low of 49. We're up to 60 tomorrow. Following that front, though, temperatures drop to 25 for the low, 44 St. Patty's Day, 42 Saturday, only 48 for the first day of spring. But then as we head into next week, temperatures will begin to warm up. Spring will eventually get here as we climb towards 70 by next Thursday with some thunderstorm chances. We'll be back with more of the KOAM Morning News right after this.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. Moraine, Kansas man previously convicted of child sex crimes is back in jail on child porn charges. 58-year-old Keith Levesque faces 31 counts of sexual exploitation of a child. Court records show Levesque had previously been charged with 95 counts of sexual exploitation of a child in 2018. He later pleaded guilty to 3 reduced charges and received a 25-year probation sentence in 2020. According to a study by the National Council on Problem Gambling, around 2% of adults in the U.S. have a gambling problem, and that equates to around 5 million people. The group estimates 15 million more individuals were at risk of developing a gambling addiction. An addiction counselor in Joplin says the problem has grown here in the 4 states, and gambling addiction can be a slippery slope. The East Newton School District in Granby, Missouri is asking residents to approve a $5 million bond that would add a junior high wing onto the high school. The district hosted a community meeting to give residents more information about the project and answer any questions they may have. U.S. Cellular and the Boys and Girls Club of Southwest Missouri announced winners of the 4th annual Black History Month art contest. Winners from 1st to 3rd place are Tylin, Emetiana, and Landon. Artwork includes historical figures, world leaders, scientists, and educators. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
We've got a chilly start, but we will warm up through the day. Winds increasing throughout the day and into tonight in that 20 to 40 mile an hour range. Up till 61 for a high. Cloudy this afternoon. Brief break in the clouds this evening. Then they'll increase again overnight. We stay breezy up to 49, or down to 49 rather, for our low. And as we look ahead, we're up to 60 degrees tomorrow. Strong cold front with some showers and thunderstorms. Down to 25 after that. 44 for St. Patty's Day. A cool weekend. Only 48 the first day of spring. I wanted to show you the long range because spring does arrive next week. It's just a bit late as we start to get into the mid-50s, the 60s, near 70 by next Thursday. Maybe some additional thunderstorm chances.
All right, coming up today at noon, we're making crispy buttermilk onion rings in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
And your morning news continues on KOAM with CBS Mornings. First on CBS Mornings, a look at the new outfits that'll be worn by astronauts blasting off on the Artemis 3 mission. See the 21st century technology aimed at improving mobility.
Or you can switch on over with us on Fox 14, where your only local morning news continues. And this morning, we've got James Coover from the K-State Extension Office stopping by the studio to tell us all about an upcoming gorilla grafting workshop, whether you've got a green thumb or not.
And speaking of plants, it's almost spring, and that means you can expect to see more plants popping up, but some plants can be dangerous for cats and dogs. We'll have some information on that. That's going to wrap it up for us for now. We will see you back here tomorrow morning at 5 a.m.
And we're going to do it again today at noon.